Okay, let's dive in. We've got a snapshot here of the AI world from April 23rd, 2025.
Yeah, looks like a busy day.
It really does. Seems like we're seeing faster models, definitely smarter video generation, and some, interesting shifts in how AI is being built and used overall.
A real mix. We've got model releases, some research that caught my eye, and even hints about AI in the workplace.
Exactly. So let's try and unpack what stands out from this AI Daily News Digest and, figure out what it all means for you listening.
Sounds good. The emphasis on sort of efficiency and specialization really jumps out across the board, I think.
Absolutely. So kicking things off, there's this new model family called Nemotron-H.
Ah, yes.
And what's fascinating here is the approach, this hybrid Mamba-Transformer thing.
Right. That's the key bit.
Apparently, by swapping out most of those standard self-attention layers for Mamba layers, they're getting up to, what, 3x faster inference?
Yeah, 3 times faster,
Yeah.
which is significant. And crucially, they're claiming similar accuracy levels to standard transformers.
So not losing the smarts, just gaining speed. How does that Mamba layer actually achieve that speed up?
Well, think of it like this. Traditional self-attention is a bit like everyone in a room trying to listen to everyone else all at once. It's powerful, but computationally heavy.
Okay.
Mamba is, let's say, more selective. It processes information sequentially, but focuses more efficiently on what's relevant. That inherent focus translates directly to faster processing.
Makes sense. And they have a few versions, an 8 billion and a 56 billion parameter model.
Correct. And then there's a really interesting one.
The MiniPuzzle, a compressed 47 billion parameter version.
Exactly, which apparently gives another 20% speed boost on top.
Wow. Okay. And they also figured out this FP8 training recipe, achieving BF16 parity. What does that mean practically?
It basically means they can train these powerful models using a more memory-efficient number format, FT8, but get the same quality results as if they use the less efficient BF16 format.
So cheaper, faster training potentially.
Precisely. Lower computational cost, which could make these big models more accessible for more people, more organizations. That mini-puzzle thing also shows that really pushing the optimization angle hard.
Yeah, it definitely seems like if you're thinking about efficiency without losing too much power, Nemotron-H is one to watch.
Sure.
Okay. Next, Nvidia's announced Eagle 2.5, described as frontier VLMs, vision language models.
Right, and the focus seems to be on long context multimodal learning.
So understanding stuff that involves both images, maybe video, and text over long stretches.
Exactly. Think about following a complex story in a movie or, analyzing a long document with lots of diagrams. That's where long context ability is vital.
And the claim here is pretty bold. The 8 billion parameter version is apparently matching giants like GPT-4o and Qwen2.5-VL-72B.
On understanding long videos, yes, that's the specific claim.
Still, for an 8B model, that's quite something.
Yeah, it really is. It suggests Nvidia might have found some very efficient architectural or training tricks, especially for that complex task of video understanding over time. If you want the nitty-gritty, they've put out a paper.
Good to know. Okay, shifting gears slightly, Alibaba released something called Uni 3C. It's on Hugging Face.
Ah, yes, this one looked interesting for video generation.
Yeah, it seems focused on unifying 3D enhanced camera and human motion controls. Very precise control.
That's the idea. If you're creating AI video and you want really specific camera angles, movements, and have characters move just so.
This could be a game changer, giving creators that fine-grained control.
Exactly. Moving beyond just generating a video about X towards actually directing the AI's output with much more precision could lead to some really sophisticated results.
Speaking of video, there's also Skywork launching Skyreels V2.
Right, another video model.
And the notable claim here is generating unlimited duration videos for both text to video and image to video.
That's a huge claim. Unlimited duration is, well, ambitious. Most models currently top out at fairly short clips.
Maintaining coherence over, say, minutes or longer would be a massive step.
Absolutely. It implies a different kind of architecture, perhaps.
They mentioned having 1.3B and 14B parameter versions. And their benchmarks, in their model card, suggest it outperforms competitors like Honeywell Video and WAN 2.1.
Which is standard practice, showing your model in the best light. But it's useful context.
They also compare their approach to MGI-1, which generates videos autoregressively, like chunk by chunk.
Right, that comparison is telling. MGI-1 builds the video piece by piece, Skyreels claiming unlimited duration might suggest a different approach, maybe less prone to losing the plot over time, or maybe just a different way of stitching chunks. It highlights there isn't just one way to tackle AI video.
And looking at some of the Reddit discussion around it.
The community feedback. Always insightful.
Yeah, some comparisons to models like Qwen. A few people felt Skyreels V2 might be, maybe, slightly behind on prompt following or video quality things like weird loops or slowdowns sometimes.
Okay, so maybe not perfect yet. Trade-offs.
But on the other hand, it was noted for generating faster and showing progress interactively, which could be really valuable depending on what you need, right?
Definitely. Faster iteration versus maybe a slightly higher quality, that's a common trade-off.
There was also excitement specifically about the Skyreels text-to-video, the T2V. One user called the 720p quantized version a stand-in replacement for Qwen 2.1, especially for getting more appealing visuals.
Interesting. So aesthetically, maybe it has an edge for some users.
Seems like it. Though they also mentioned that for super specific things like getting anatomy perfectly right, you might still need other tools.
Standard caveats for current AI generation, yeah.
And another interesting point from testers, the diffusion forcing version of Skyreels V2 was apparently impressive for longer video, say 30 seconds plus. Good consistency, camera movement held up.
Okay, that's promising for the longer duration claims.
But the practical side, someone mentioned it took around 3 hours on an A100 GPU for a 30-second clip.
Oof. Okay, so unlimited duration might be theoretically possible, but practically expensive and slow right now.
Yeah, and still potential for artifacts,
Yeah.
like motion happening in reverse sometimes.
Yeah.
Things to be aware of.
The usual reality check with cutting-edge tech, impressive capabilities, but often with practical hurdles.
Right. Okay, let's switch to audio. Nari Labs put out Dia 1.6B speech synthesis model.
Yeah, I saw this one. The focus is on naturalness and expressiveness.
And apparently it achieves that pretty well despite being relatively small, only 1.6 billion parameters.
Which is always good news. Smaller models are generally faster, cheaper to run, more accessible.
It's open source too. You can run it locally or on Google Colab.
Great for the community. Lets people experiment easily.
Although there's a little note. Recent updates need a newer CUDA version, so some people using Colab are sticking with an older commit for compatibility for now.
The joys of dependency management in AI. Not uncommon.
Seems the Web UI, the Gradia one, has some limits on using your own audio as a reference sample.
Okay.
But the command line interface apparently offers more control. It supports multi-speaker transcripts, for instance.
Good that there's a more powerful option for advanced users.
And the Reddit feedback. People seem to like its creative expressiveness, ease of use.
Positive signs?
But there are quirks. Like sometimes the generated audio sounds unusually fast.
Interesting. Might need some tweaking of parameters, perhaps. But overall, sounds promising for a small, open-source speech model.
Definitely. Okay, now for something a bit different. Anthropic's research into the values expressed by their Claude AI.
Yeah, this caused a bit of a stir, analyzing real-world conversations.
Massive data set, too. 700,000 anonymized chats. They were trying to map out Claude's sort of moral leanings in practice.
It's a really important area. As these AIs become more integrated, understanding their implicit values and how they behave is crucial.
The study suggests Claude shows a pretty consistent, benevolent moral code, especially compared to other models. And it even seems to adapt its ethical reasoning based on user traits.
Which is fascinating and also raises a lot of questions.
Right, like data privacy in analyzing chats, even anonymized, potential misuse of this understanding. And is this benevolence really unique or just, a direct result of how it was trained and fine-tuned?
Exactly. It's very hard to separate the model's inherent values, if such a thing even exists, from the values embedded in its training data and, crucially, the values of the human labelers who provided feedback during RLHF.
Yeah, some commentators online on Reddit again made that exact point. Is Claude's moral code just reflecting the values of its predominantly Western human trainer?
That's a very valid critique. Bias in training data and labeling is a known challenge. The principles guiding Claude might be quite culturally specific.
And on a related note from Anthropic, they made a pretty bold prediction. They think fully AI employees could be just a year away.
Wow, okay, define fully AI employees.
They mean agents with persistent memory, acting autonomously in specific roles within a company.
That's ambitious for a one-year timeline, I'd say. There are huge technical hurdles. Persistent context and memory is still a major challenge for LLMs.
Not to mention securely integrating such agents into corporate systems, and of course, the massive implications for the human workforce.
Absolutely. While the capability is growing fast, things like reliable long-term memory, robust security, and the sheer cost of running such persistent agents make that timeline feel optimistic.
Yeah, skepticism definitely exists, though some suggest maybe a more gradual path is likely multiple specialized AI agents tackling specific tasks rather than one AI employee doing a whole job.
That feels more plausible in the near term. Augmentation rather than complete replacement initially.
Okay, back to model performance for a moment. There's mention of SRPO.
Right, two-staged history resampling policy optimization.
Catchy name. Apparently it uses the same base model as DeepSeek, that Qwen2.5-3TB model. But here's the interesting part. It relies only on reinforcement learning. No supervised fine-tuning beforehand.
Which is a less common approach for reaching top-tier performance. Usually it's SFT than RL.
And yet, SRPO is reportedly outperforming DeepSeek R1032B, which was trained with SFT and RL, on benchmarks like AME24 and Live Code Bench.
Now that is significant. If they can get state-of-the-art results purely through reinforcement learning on a strong base model, it suggests RL techniques are becoming incredibly powerful on their own. Could change how models are trained.
Yeah, points to RL maybe being enough by itself if done right. Very interesting.
Definitely one to watch for the researchers out there.
Finally, this concept called sleep time compute.
Intriguing name. What's the idea?
Basically, letting LLMs do computations offline during idle periods or sleep time.
How?
By trying to anticipate future user queries and pre-calculating some of the potential responses or information needed.
Ah, okay. Proactive computation.
Exactly. The goal is to tackle the high latency, the lag, and the cost associated with running these huge models in real time for every single query.
Makes sense. Inference is expensive, especially at scale. If you can offload some of that work to off-peak times based on prediction.
You could potentially get faster answers for users when they do ask, and maybe use resources more efficiently overall.
It's a clever approach to the scaling problem, lots of engineering challenges there, I imagine, but a really interesting direction for making powerful AI more practical.
So wrapping this all up, what does it mean for you listening?
Well, the big picture seems clear. The push for faster, more efficient AI is relentless.
Yeah, definitely seeing that trend continue, especially in demanding areas like video generation and understanding really long streams of information. Nemotron-H, Eagle 2.5, Skyrails, all pointing that way.
And the ethical side, like with Anthropic's work on Claude's values and the potential for autonomous AI agents, those discussions are becoming much more immediate, less theoretical.
Absolutely. Plus these innovative training and deployment ideas like SRPO using just RL or the sleep time compute concept.
They hint at exciting new ways AI might develop and be used in the future. Not just bigger models, but smarter ways to build and run them.
So hopefully this run-through of the AI Daily News Digest gave you a clearer picture of some key developments. Lots to think about. What stands out most to you from all this? Which areas do you think will have the biggest impact soon?
Good questions to mull over. It's a fascinating field moving incredibly fast. These snapshots really highlight that constant drive for more capability, more efficiency, more integration.
Indeed. Always great to unpack these updates. Thanks for sharing the sources.
Always interesting to discuss.